gonna swack them?
We did all right. Got one good one. Lost a 4-pounder that's gonna cost us, so.
You gonna take 25 pounds tonight?
I'd be satisfied with that. I'd be strong.
Yeah, one thing's for sure. You can't kill a coyote where he ain't, and you can't catch a bass where he ain't. If you can figure out what stage they're in throughout the year and remember that from year to year, you'll be able to predict where they're gonna be or somewhere thereabouts.
About 19.
Time management aspect is the thing. Just like what we're doing now, we're preparing ourselves so we don't waste any time on the water. And, hunting coyotes, it's the same deal. You put in a lot of preparation and lay out the best plan you can based on the conditions, time of year, weather, everything else. All that makes an impact on your success.
I honestly feel like the guy that's the most successful, bar none, is the guy that can figure out where they're going and find them.
Uh-oh. No! Not the whopper plopper.
If you know what they're gonna do and where they're gonna do it, at that point, you know how to approach hunting and fishing, both.
Patterns, you catch a bass on a stump that's on the secondary point, kill a coyote that's in a mesquite flat early in the morning, hit them places.
You don't want to give up.
You gotta be where the bass are, you gotta hunt where the coyotes are.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Earlier this year, I got an unexpected call from a coyote hunting buddy of mine who had recently dove headfirst back into my other passion in life, bass fishing. Now, one thing's certain, this guy is no stranger to a bass. He was simply trying to get back into the sport after some time away, and I was his guy to catch him up on what he had missed over the past several years. Many of you may know him as Cat Daddy, or coyote killing legend Kelly Jackson. Now, Kelly was fishing bass tournaments before I ever even had a driver's license. So we figured why not try our hand at a local weeknight event just to see if we could compete. You want me to fill it out or you want to fill it out?
Go ahead, man.
We know, Larry.
Hey, Larry, how you doing, man? Good.
One thing Kelly and I can both agree on is there are certain skill sets an angler can develop over time practicing one sport, like bass fishing in our case, then applying those same skills to another sport like hunting coyotes. As odd as it sounds, a person can tailor their decision-making process for one sport with skills learned from another, if you know how to recognize them.
Number 19.
Lucky 19. I'll take it. It's better than 29.
True.
9:30 still?
Yes, sir. You got to have your number in that can by 9:30. That proves that you made it back on time. When my alarm goes off at 9:30, I'll pull the can off the table.
We're probably going to try to come up a little bit early.
Okay.
Try to get here early enough
Unless
to
they're
catch.
biting.
If you don't see us until the last second,
We got a good one.
we did all right.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. See ya. Thanks, Larry. I've been super competitive my whole life, and if I'm there to win. And it's always a little concerning when you have all your eggs in one basket going into a tournament. Let's just say we were strategically flying by the seat of our pants. I'm kind of thinking we go hit our first spot, and if that don't work out, we'll go to plan B. And if that don't work out, we'll just stick with it until it does.
Well,
That's all we got is 2 plans.
That's what I kind of figured. I was waiting to hear what plan C was, because, I'm with you on plan A and B. But if you had a new plan C, like deep dredging crankbaits, I left them at home.
Plan C is to try plan B.
Over.
Yes.
The other side.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah. No argument from me. That sounds good. Some things that always come into play or should be part of your decision-making process, the time of year, and, are the bass spawning, are the coyotes breeding? Is it fall dispersal on the coyotes? Post-spawn on the bass? All these things make a difference in the way you attack the day.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. You'll never kill a coyote where he ain't. We looked this ranch over for several hours without any kind of a response, and as luck would have it, on the way out, we spot this coyote mixed in with the cows, literally right in front of the landowner's house. As soon as we spotted him, we were all like, duh, they're calving this time of year, so why would there not be one there? Sometimes I think we as hunters will outsmart ourselves to the point we actually put ourselves out of the game, and sometimes it's just best to keep it simple. I really think this coyote had a bit of a hearing problem, but we still managed to get him where we wanted him.
I think maybe he might have been an older one. I mean, it doesn't look like it. I guess it's a she. They face planted. I don't think he ever knew what hit him. Nope. She never knew what hit her. I don't know why she's having trouble hearing. Well, there was a time or two that I thought it was going to be bad on us, but after kind of watching her more, she just couldn't hear what she thought. Whatever she was hearing was right there under her, and she was spinning around because she was spinning around looking at the ground. She didn't realize what she was looking for. Let's load her up and get her rolling.
Now that coyote was the perfect example of why sometimes the best plan is to just keep it simple and start with the obvious.
19.
And that's exactly what we're about to do here. We had one area we knew held bass year-round, and it's the biggest and most obvious piece of structure on the entire lake, and that's the dam. It doesn't get any more simple than that. But for early summertime tournaments, it can pay off, as there will always be some late spawners you'll bump into from time to time there. And that's exactly what we were looking for. We knew we needed one big bite to put us in contention to win, and I knew it was simply a matter of putting it in front of the right one. It started out slow, just catching a keeper here and there, but our focus was on that one donkey that would separate us from the field. It's the kind of bass every tournament fisherman dreams of at night. The kind that make you weak in the knees the first time they jump after you hook them. And I'm not talking about a 4 or 5 pounder. I'm talking about a true giant that you know in your gut is the winning fish if you can just get her in the boat. I knew they lived here from past experience, and all I was asking for was a chance. But we had no idea what kind of encounter we were about to have, and the rodeo that would soon follow.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
This was a toad, and she was not happy. All we had to do was take our time and not do anything stupid.
He don't want to give up. No, he ain't gonna give up for a while.
We've been fighting this fish for over 4 minutes now, without any signs of her giving up. But one thing I've learned over playing this game so long is getting in a hurry in the heat of the moment rarely works out the way you want it to. And the same thing goes for coyotes. I see hunters all the time taking shots at coyotes at 300 yards when they could have easily killed them at 30 if they had just taken a deep breath and given them a chance to get there. That type of restraint is a learned patience that will usually come over time just simply from being in front of several coyotes. But you have to push past the nerves, take your finger off the trigger, and give them a chance to get close when they're telling you they like what they hear and you've got the wind on them. You'll kill way more coyotes by taking closer, high percentage shots, and you will always learn more from a live coyote than a dead one. This big furred up coyote was taking his time to get there, but we were in no hurry and had nowhere else to be. We were gonna take our time reeling this one in and put him in the position we wanted him.
Man, he looked real white.
Just kind of glowing as he came in with those lights on him. Oh man, beautiful. I have to say it right there, that had to be probably one of the best stands for me, man. I just love the way that coyote strolled in. She wasn't in a hurry, the tall grass and coming around that tree, and 25 yards from the truck, exactly. We probably saw her, 250 out. And she ends up 25 yards from the truck. Nice and slow, great stand. She's good size too. Really pretty coat. Salt and pepper, gorgeous. Really white back on her. You could tell how white her front was and her face, her ears as she was coming in. Just really cool looking.
Patience is something that some guys come by naturally, and others have to learn through experience. Regardless of what type you may be, patience is a tool just like another sound on your Fox Pro that'll put more fur in your truck if you know how and when to use it. That's free advice coming from someone who's seen firsthand what happens when you don't.
Took her forever to get here.
Yeah, it did.
25 minutes. People say that you gotta wait for 15 minutes and if you don't see nothing to leave.
Yeah, you're missing coyotes.
You're
man.
missing coyotes and cats.
You're for sure missing cats. It's really cold for us Texas boys. Something about tonight just kind of gets to your bones. I'll take 21 over 91 anytime. Anytime.
You know, the longer I hunt and fish, the more I find myself applying skills I learned from one sport to help me with another. We gave that stand 25 minutes before that coyote ever showed himself, and another 15 minutes before we even pulled the trigger. I understand every situation is different, and this one is a bit out of the norm. But the fact remains, good results rarely come out of getting worked up and rushing anything. And I dang sure wasn't about to do that with this monster on the line. We needed this bass in the boat in a bad way if we were going to have a prayer to win, but she just kept pulling and pulling. The fight seemed to drag on forever till I finally felt her let up just enough to get her in the boat.
Woo, woo. Yeah.
That's going to be
God.
9 pounds. That's 9 pounds.
You don't catch them like that every day, much less in a tournament.
Maybe more. That's a good one.
I felt in my gut I was holding the winning fish, but I'm no fool to assume anything.
That's a good one. Yeah, I think it is too.
There were 28 of the best local teams we still had to beat, and counting your chickens in any sport ain't a good idea.
How about them apples?
It was time to take them to the scales and let the chips fall how they may. I felt we had enough with the weights I saw coming in early, but you never know until the weigh-in line closes and the last bag crosses the scales. For now, the weight to beat was a little over 16 pounds, and I wasn't certain we had it.
What's your swackle?
We did all right. Got one good one.
Lost a 4-pounder that's going to cost us, so we got one that'll go 8, I think.
We had lost one good one at the end of the day that would have added 3 to 4 pounds to our overall weight, and I was nervous it was going to cost us. But even still, we knew we would at least place.
Well, we're in the top 3.
As team after team crossed the scales, I couldn't help but wonder if our decision to go to the dam based on the time of year was going to produce the winning bag. That move was an educated decision on our part based on what we had learned from previous trips around the same time of year over the past several years. We simply took advantage of a seasonal pattern, and the same principle applies to coyotes as much or even more so.
It's a good-looking spot.
Being able to recognize the different stages coyotes naturally go through every year and understanding them will not only make you a more effective coyote hunter, but it will also help you predict where they're going to be and know what sounds to use to get them to respond solely by understanding the seasonal stage they are in at the time. It's just like trying to catch a bass. You have to find one first, then you have to figure out how to make him bite. It's all about knowing each season, and that just comes with experience and learning from others. If there's any part of coyotes Kelly understands, it's no doubt coyote vocals. He's the one that taught us that distress sounds aren't the only thing that will get a coyote to respond, especially during what predator hunters call the denning season.
Yeah, he's coming.
If there is any one thing that will fire up a coyote with pups in a den, it's another intruder coyote stepping onto his turf. Coyote vocalizations are a year-round tool that can be used all year. But there are key months during the summer where certain vocalizations will trigger certain coyotes when a distress sound simply won't. And that in itself is no coincidence, because it happens every year around the same time. And that, my friend, is a pattern you can count on.
Oh, dumped him. Good shot, man. Good shot right there. He wasn't overly anxious, but
No, he came though.
he came far enough.
Hey, we can go from catching bass to killing coyotes at night. Man, there ain't nothing better. Enjoying myself. Thanks for having me, Chris.
This ain't gonna be an easy chore finding this guy.
Man, I think he's just over here this way, just a little ways. Little male. Smoked him.
Yes, you did. Good shot, man.
It's no summertime coyote, Matt.
Yes, sir.
It's just like bass fishing or anything else. You gotta tailor to the seasonal patterns. Right now, we got pups in the den, pups that are just starting to roam. We never played a distress sound. Just a little bit of canine sounds, and shoot that old coyote. He jumped up on them hay bales. He wanted to see what we
Oh,
had.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
No doubt. He didn't come charging.
No, sir.
He was cautious, but
He was
not
sneaky.
quite cautious enough.
Right.
Yeah, I'm surprised he took that path through this high grass. You know, he could have come right across his field.
I know.
He could have come around those hay bales, missed them all, but
You know, that old wind's kind of switching, though. I think he was trying to probably get her wind the way he was acting, but
he's probably played this game once or twice, too.
I bet he has on this farm.
Yeah. So big old bass at sunset
Big old bass this afternoon.
and a 2 a.m. coyote.
Coyote after dark. Can't beat it.
You get to sleep in the morning.
I do get to sleep
All
in.
right. All right. That makes one of us.
Yes.
Hunting coyotes or chasing bass will never be directly related by any stretch, but the skill sets applied when practicing one or the other will in fact carry over, especially those skills needed for finding the pattern that fits the season.
Number 19. Oh, give us them 2 tenths.
We were the last team to weigh and had to weigh the big one first, and I figured she'd go about 8.5, but you never know till you put them on the scales. I knew it would be close because the other team's big fish was actually a few ounces bigger than ours, but we had one other decent one in our bag. As the scales bounced back and forth, all we could do is sit back, cross our fingers, and hope for the best. The number to beat was 1680.
1703.
And we had it. Not by much, but a win is a win in this game, and it was all because of that one big fish and the decision we made to go where we did.
First place in the stream, 1708, Chris Robinson and Kevin Johnson.
Thanks, sir. Bet.
It's all about finding the animal you're chasing first, then applying the skills you've learned to help you put them in the truck. Or I guess in this case, the boat. As for myself, the payoff is not the money. For me, the real reward is in the success.